Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has commended and praised the efforts of personnel at the Israel Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations, known in Hebrew word as Mossad, over the fall of Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria early December 2024, apparently corroborating the statement issued by the Iran Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei in late December 2024 that the fall of President al-Assad regime was a plan orchestrated by Israel and the United States, US, under the leadership of then President Joe Biden. This, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the 68th session of the United Nations General Assembly on October 1, 2013, said that Iran directly participated in Assad's murder and massacre of tens of thousands of innocent men, women and children in Syria, used chemical weapons against its own people, and in 2010, the ousted Syrian President Bashar al-Assad had accused Israel of avoiding peace, and Syrian Foreign Minister Walid Muallem warned that in the event of a future war, Israeli cities would be targeted by Syrian missiles, an action Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu believed to be the underground work of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. He had accused severally of being the root cause of war in the Middle East, specifically stating at the 68th session of the UN Assembly that, some 2,500 years ago, the great Persian king Cyrus ended the Babylonian exile of the Jewish people. He issued a famous edict in which he proclaimed the right of the Jews to return to the land of Israel and rebuild the Jewish temple in Jerusalem. That's a Persian decree, and thus began an historic friendship between the Jews and the Persians that lasted until modern times. But in 1979 a radical regime in Tehran tried to stamp out that friendship. As it was busy crushing the Iranian people's hope for democracy, it always led wild chants of death of the Jews. Now, since that time, presidents of Iran have come and gone. Some presidents were considered moderates, other hardliners, but they've all served that same unforgiving creed, that same unforgiving regime, that creed that is espoused and enforced by the real power in Iran, the dictator known as the Supreme Leader, first Ayatollah Khomeini and now Ayatollah Khamenei. Israel Policy Forum, in a publication published in December 2024, stated that the new Syria presents fresh challenges for Israel, stating that the Turkey-backed Sunni jihadist group, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, was an al-Qaeda's former Syrian branch, and its leader, Abu Muhammad al-Golani, also known as Ahmed Hussein al-Sharaa, who is the current president of Syria, was a member of an early version of the Islamic State, saying, Jolani's chosen last name also foreshadows conflict over territory, that his family hails from the Golan Heights, which Israel partly occupied after the 1973 war and annexed in 1981. According to the publication, the Israel Policy Forum said, the Syrian civil war entered a new and uncharted phase this weekend with the shocking fall of Bashar al-Assad's 24-year dictatorship. A loose alliance of rebel groups in Syria's northwest, led by the Sunni jihadist group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, swept southwards and took Damascus in a 12-day lightning offensive amidst the Syrian army's collapse. Russia, Iran, and Hezbollah, overstretched by other wars, stood by while Assad fled to Moscow and a key link in the axis of resistance disappeared. What does this mean for Israel? Assad was a staunch enemy of Israel, and under his rule, Syria became a conduit for Iranian arms and personnel flows to Hezbollah across the Iran-Lebanon land bridge. His demise further isolates Hezbollah, already severely damaged after a 2-month war with Israel, and reduces Iranian influence in Syria, both positive developments for Israel. However, under Assad, there were no Israel-Syria border clashes for decades, and after October 7, 2023, Syria did not attack Israel or allow other groups to attack from its territory. For better and worse, Assad was the devil Israel knew. The new Syria presents fresh challenges for Israel. The most straightforward are the stores of advanced weapons, including chemical weapons, left behind in military sites across Syria. Israel's heavy bombardments of bases, military research centers, and other sites around Syria over the last few days are designed to prevent these stores from falling into enemy hands. While HTS issued a statement saying it considered the use of chemical weapons a crime and would work to secure them, Israel has learned the lessons of the past and will take actions it deems necessary to secure itself. The strategic effects of Assad's fall are also mixed for Israel. Israel has good ties with some rebel factions, namely, Kurdish forces that hold most of Syria's east and the Druze in the south. However, HTS is al-Qaeda's former Syrian branch, and its leader, Abu Muhammad al-Golani, was a member of an early version of the Islamic State. While HTS claims to have moderated and to have no interest in global jihad, they are no friends of Israel. Golani's chosen last name also foreshadows conflict over territory. His family hails from the Golan Heights, which Israel partly occupied after the 1973 war and annexed in 1981. Meanwhile, when the Israel Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, visited Mossad headquarters on Thursday, he met with Mossad Director, David Barnea, and the agency's Senior Command Forum. According to the Office of Israel Prime Minister press release, the Prime Minister expressed his appreciation for the agency's personnel for the unique and significant contribution to Operation Rising Lion and for the many years of operational and intelligence work in thwarting the Iranian threat. Prime Minister Netanyahu said, "The Mossad operation with the pages set in motion everything that happened afterward. The elimination of Nasrallah, the collapse of Assad and our subsequent joint action in removing the immediate existential threat. Your contribution was immense." Under the leadership of Mossad Director David Barnea, the agency proved its deep commitment to eliminating the leading minds and striking the Iranian nuclear program. Your phenomenal achievements combined very well with the great achievements of the IDF. This was a very great force multiplier. I commend you for your major and ongoing contribution to the security of Israel. Mossad Director Barnea replied and said, "Today, the state of Israel is in a powerful and strategic position, thanks to the outstanding cooperation with the military, which showed astounding capabilities, alongside the Mossad, which worked for years, preparing special and intelligence operations against the Iranian threat. There has been throughout responsible military leadership, outstanding civilian leadership, and, of course, diplomatic leadership by you, Mr. Prime Minister. I personally thank you for the trust you have placed in the men and women of the Mossad, and its commanders. Without this trust, we would not have achieved what we have to date, or the significant damage we inflicted in the recent campaign. Our mission is not over. We are committed to continuing our efforts with determination in order to prevent future Iranian threats to the state of Israel, and to striving to fully utilize the strategic opportunities before us." Benjamin Netanyahu at the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC meeting on March 6, 2012, said, "From the beginning, the Ayatollah regime has broken every international rule and flouted every norm. It has seized embassies, targeted diplomats and sent its own children through minefields. It hangs gays and stones women. It supports Assad's brutal slaughter of the Syrian people. Iran is the world's foremost sponsor of terror. It sponsors Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza and terrorists throughout the Middle East, Africa, and South America. Iran's proxies have dispatched hundreds of suicide bombers, planted thousands of roadside bombs, and fired over 20,000 missiles at civilians. Through terror from the skies and terror on the ground, Iran is responsible for the murder of hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans. In 1983, Iran's proxy Hezbollah blew up the Marine barracks in Lebanon, killing 240 American servicemen. In the last decade, it's been responsible for murdering and maiming American soldiers in Afghanistan and Iraq. Just a few months ago, it tried to assassinate the Saudi ambassador in a restaurant just a few blocks from here. The assassins didn't care that several senators and members of Congress would have been murdered in the process. Iran accuses the American government of orchestrating 9/11, and it denies the Holocaust. Iran brazenly calls for Israel's destruction, and they work for its destruction, each day, every day. This is how Iran behaves today, without nuclear weapons. Think of how they will behave tomorrow, with nuclear weapons. Iran will be even more reckless and far more dangerous. We had reported that in April 2025, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu traveled to the United States, US and held meetings with President Donald Trump, only returned from the official trip and intensified more aggressive military campaigns in Gaza and staged a military confrontation with Iran, which led to the killing of almost 1,000 Iranians in a 12-day war with the Islamic country. This, on Tuesday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told his cabinet members that he will travel to the US next week to hold very important security meetings with President Donald Trump and the US lawmakers amongst others, while specifically telling the cabinet members that the details of the scheduled meetings are things he cannot reveal at the briefing. We had reported that the United States, US President Donald Trump has accused members of the Israel House of Assembly, known in Hebrew word as Knesset, of apparent politically witch-hunting the Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu with corruption case President Trump had described as nothing but political witch hunt, saying the Knesset prosecutors should let Benjamin Netanyahu go, that he's a war hero who have worked with the US to eliminate Iran nuclear threats, and currently he has a big job to do with negotiations of peace deals with Iran and Hamas, stressing in a question manner how possible is it for the Israel Prime Minister to sit in court all day long. The Prime Minister lawyer had filed a 2-week delay of the case, citing national security demands following the 12-day Israel-Iran war, but the court sitting in Jerusalem rejected the application on Friday, and Benjamin Netanyahu, who has spent 20 years as Israel Prime Minister, was expected to be in court on Monday for cross-examination in the corruption case that started with police investigation in 2016 and the court trial commenced in 2020. But a report from some foreign media quoting the Prime Minister political party, Likud, a few hours ago indicated that the court on Sunday has postponed the case and cancelled it from holding this week. Similarly, some members of the Knesset had accused the Prime Minister of trying to use the regional war with Hamas, Hezbollah and Iran to secure end to the corruption charges. We had reported that thousands of mourners on Saturday put on mostly black and black clothes and rallied from Enghalab Square to Azadi Square in Tehran, the Iranian state capital, to honor the country's top military commanders, nuclear scientists, 4 little children and 4 women among the hundreds of people killed during the 12 days war the Islamic country had with Israel and the United States, US, with the mourners chanting anti-US and Israel songs, while the Iran Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, was not seen at the funeral, with reports indicating that he has remained out of public space and still taking cover in a well-secured hideout since, on Tuesday, the ceasefire between the two countries had been brokered, and the cynosure of many eyes at the state funeral ceremony was the arrival and appearance of 2 top senior Iranian military officers previously declared killed by Israel: Ali Shamkhani, senior advisor to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, and Esmail Khani, commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC Quds Force, which Israel Defense Forces, IDF, had claimed to have assassinated with an airstrike on the 13th of June 2025 during the start of the Iran-Israel war. However, Iranian state media contradicted the IDF report on the 20th of June that the officials are still alive, and they were in stable condition after recovering from severe injuries from the strike. We had reported that the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has listed what the troops of Operation Rising Lions achieved in a 12-day war with the Islamic Republic of Iran, stating that Israel will now pursue the path of making peace with nations in the Middle East and compensate those that suffered damages, specifically stating that all the buildings destroyed by Iran ballistic missiles will be rebuilt anew by the Israeli government for the victims, adding that, without the immense achievements in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria, and against the said terrorism in Judea and Samaria, Israel would not have been able to reach Tehran, made the statement on Tuesday evening after Iran President Masoud Pezeshkian announced an end to the 12 days tense and frightening military campaigns that the United States, led by President Donald Trump, took side with Israel and officially and openly got itself involved in the war on Saturday 21. 2025, when U.S. special military troops flew several B-2 bombers, fighter jets, and attacked three Iranian cities of Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, with allegations that the Iranian nuclear facilities in the cities have been destroyed, allegations several media reports and authorities in Tehran have dismissed. But in retaliation to the U.S. invasion of the Iranian territory, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, launched 6 missiles into Qatar on Monday with the intention to destroy U.S. military base in the Qatari capital of Doha known as U.S. al-Udeid Air Base, but, according to Qatar state media, Doha News, all the missiles were intercepted. We had reported that the head of the Christian Catholic Church, Pope Leo XIV, has appealed to all actors involved in the ongoing war in the Middle East and beyond to end the battles because, according to the Pope, war only amplifies or creates more problems, and no amount of military victory can compensate the pains of mothers, the stolen futures, and the fear of children, emphasizing that war does not solve problem. We had reported that the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has commended President Trump of the United States, U.S. over the night attack the U.S. military for the first time for years carried out on Iranian cities of Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, saying, like him and President Trump do say that peace comes through strength, the U.S. troops acted with a lot of strength while bombing the nuclear facilities in the 3 cities of Iran. We had reported that the United States, U.S. President Donald Trump has confirmed that the U.S. military troops have attacked nuclear facilities in the Iranian cities of Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan on Saturday night, June 21, 2025, according to U.S. local time of Pacific Standard Time, PST, which was already early morning night on Sunday, June 22, 2025 for countries on Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, saying, the U.S. military attacks on Iran was completely successful, as White House published photographs of President Trump and his cabinet members said to be watching the U.S. operations in Iran nuclear sites, although no authority in Iran has issued any statement over the attacks, and some of the media in Iran are yet to give update on the conditions of things in the 3 cities, but an apparent military insider media of Iran Armed Forces, Daily Iran military, tweeted that residents in the vicinity of Fordo reported no indication of a major explosion, while also adding that the deputy political editor of Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, IRIB, was on live TV program in the station saying Iran has already evacuated 3 nuclear sites some time ago. This, Israel Defense Forces, IDF, earlier on Saturday night posted an aerial view recorded video of the Israeli troops bombing a location said to be Isfahan nuclear site. Facility said the Iranian uranium enrichments reconversion were taking place. We had reported that 22 persons suspected to be spies have been arrested in the Iranian province of with an apparent military insider media that operate with a verified social media handle, Iran Armed Forces, stating that the 22 individuals were linked to Israeli intelligence services, and police authority in according to AFP, confirmed the arrest of the 22 persons the police said are Israeli spies. This, Israel Defense Forces, IDF, in a statement issued on Saturday morning said that Israeli troops in a precise attack killed the commander of the Palestine Corps of the Quds Force, Saeed Azadi, in We had reported that the India Ministry of External Affairs, in a statement issued on Tuesday, says the government of India has moved India students in Tehran out of the Iranian capital city due to safety concerns following the continuous exchange of air bombardments between Israel and Iran, while at the same time, the government of India advised other citizens in Tehran that can afford their own transport fare to leave the Iranian capital city immediately, adding that some citizens of India have been evacuated out of Iran completely through the border with Armenia. The India embassy in Israel had on Sunday advised persons of India origin not to move unnecessarily in Tel Aviv, and they should obey safety instructions from the Israeli authorities and Home Front Command. We had reported that the ongoing military campaigns between Israel and Iran on Monday did not spare journalists, as the Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, IRIB building in Tehran was hit by Israeli missile, with the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, saying that the media was one of the Israeli military targets to block the military communications of Iran armed forces, which the Iran armed forces immediately retaliated with ballistic missiles fired into Israel, and IDF in a statement issued late hours on Monday confirmed that millions of Israeli residents are currently running into bomb shelters with air raid sirens sounding across several places in Israel. A video currently trending on social media showed the TV host, Sahar Amami, fleeing the studio when the station was hit by a missile during a live broadcast. Although there are reports from Iran that the state media resumed normal operations minutes after the attack, but there are unconfirmed reports that some journalists were killed in the attack as part of the building was completely on fire. This international news agency, Reuters, put the total deaths recorded so far since the war began on Friday at 248, quoting Iranian source of Iran suffering 224 deaths, and Israeli source saying Israel has recorded 24 deaths. We have reported that not less than 100 persons, mostly civilians, have been confirmed dead less than 48 hours since, on Friday early morning night, Israel and Iran began new massive waves of offensive military campaigns that have forced commercial airplanes to avoid the troubled Middle East airspace as the two countries fly missiles of mass destruction in the air corridors, with local media confirming Iran ballistic missile killed 10 persons and injured more than 20 others at a single building struck at Bat Yam city in Israel as the angry Iranian soldiers launched a massive all-night continuous air bombardments campaign against the state of Israel that earlier on Friday began the new offensive military campaign when it flew fighter jets to strike Iranian military homes, nuclear weapon facilities, killing Iran nuclear weapon scientists, military leaders including Iranian Chief of Staff and Commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, alongside almost 60 civilian death casualties. This, President Donald Trump of the United States, U.S. in a statement issued on Friday shortly after Israeli attack via his personal verified social media handle on his own Truth social media platform, praised and boasted about the military strength and capability of Israel, saying, "Things will only get worse for Iran because he gave them a chance to make a deal but they ignored the chance," adding with some level of mockery that the Iranian hardliners who spoke bravely are now dead as a result of the Israel attack on Iran, saying with emphasis that the US produces the best lethal military equipments anywhere in the world, and Israel already has a lot of the US military leather equipments, adding that Israel knows how to use the weapons and more will be giving to them. And in another statement issued also through the Truth social media platform on Saturday shortly after the unprecedented military parades to mark the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States Army, President Donald Trump threatened to unleash the full strength and might of the U.S. armed forces to attack Iran at a level never seen before if Iran dare attack U.S. in any way, shape or form, claiming that the U.S. had nothing to do with the Israeli attack on Iran. Reacting earlier, Iran's Supreme Leader, Imam Saeed Ali Khamenei, said Iran will retaliate Israeli attack with a strong response of no mercy, just as Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said Israeli attack on Tehran on Friday killed military commanders, nuclear scientists, women and children, while wishing President Donald Trump and U.S. armed forces happy birthday on Saturday. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu alleged that Iran made an attempt to assassinate President Donald Trump twice, adding that Israel attacked the military and nuclear facilities in Tehran on Friday because Iran was building intercontinental nuclear weapons that could be used to destroy Israel and any other country in the world.
Mossad, bringing you the news in a more digital way.